The Baltimore Ravens pick up a quality win yesterday in Minnesota. But what does it mean for the season? We discuss next. Hey, what's happening? Welcome back to The Bald Perspective. Let's talk. The Baltimore Ravens pick up a win in Minnesota yesterday, winning 3 games in a row for the first time all season, beating Chicago at home, traveling to Miami and beating them, and then winning yesterday against the Minnesota Vikings. Now, here's a question. What does this mean for the season? Does it mean that the Baltimore Ravens are back? Does it mean that the Baltimore Ravens are growing and developing after 10 weeks of ball? Or does it mean that the Baltimore Ravens are just beating up on teams that are just not as good, which indeed is what you're supposed to do? I don't know which way that it is. Is the defense playing better? It sure seems like it. Is the offense clicking? Not really, but they're finding ways to put points on the board. But I don't know what it means for the season. I don't know if it means that the Baltimore Ravens are back on track. I don't know if it means that the Baltimore Ravens are going to close the gap all the way and become congruent with the Pittsburgh Steelers and at some point surpass them. I don't know. Because there are some things, although it is a victory Monday, there are some things from this game that give you cause to pause. Now, we'll get into that a little later in a second video. But if you heard this long, do me a quick favor, hit like and subscribe. Now, let's get back to it. So, yesterday's game felt like an uphill battle. It felt like that the Baltimore Ravens were stuck in the mud on offense with a couple of big plays, a big catch by Zay Flowers, one big run by Keaton Mitchell, a couple of scrambles by Lamar Jackson, and the plays were made in order to put the points on the board. But it just felt like we were stuck in the mud. Now, with understanding, Lamar Jackson is just in his second game back after being off a month, playing one game and then getting another 9 days off. So maybe in this next game against the Cleveland Browns, if my schedule is correct, maybe he'll find his groove and maybe the offense will look more fluid. But nevertheless, we did what we needed to do, man. So shout out to Lamar Jackson. Shout out to Mark Andrews for getting a couple of good catches. Shout out to Zay for, some catch and run, yard after the catch type plays. Shout out to Derrick Henry for just continuing to try and make his own holes. Shout out to Keaton Mitchell, man, for coming in and making a splash, a couple of runs, showing that he is a valuable part of this offense if and when we use him. Shout out to Charlie Kolar, man, for continuing to be seen and heard from. So shout out to all of those guys offensively. Let's jump to the defense side of the ball. I thought the defense played fairly well yesterday. Only giving up 245, something like that, yards passing. I think they gave up one touchdown, one sack by Travis Jones. So shout out to Travis Jones for pushing the pocket up the middle. Shout out to Roquan for playing some good ball yesterday. I want to give a special shout out to Teddy Buchanan, who seems to be continuing to build and become a viable option of this defense. He's a run and hit type of guy. He definitely shows some sideline to sideline credibility. He definitely is not scared, and he definitely looks like he's gaining some confidence in this Baltimore Ravens defense. So shout out to Teddy Buchanan, man, as a rookie fourth rounder, doing his thing and earning his way onto the field with some consistency. Jump to the secondary, man. Shout out to Malachi Starks, who gets his second pick. Shout out to Marlon Humphrey, man, for playing good coverage on Justin Jefferson and getting a pick, even though he had a cast on his other hand. And then I thought Aloy Gilman made a couple of good plays. And then I thought Kyle Hamilton made some good plays as well, man. So I thought the defense played as a collective pretty well, forcing some turnovers. Roquan should have had the turnover that ended the game, but of course, referees got involved and changed that call. But I think overall it was a good team win. But what can we take from it? Well, I think what we can take from it is that the Baltimore Ravens are developing some consistency, right? When you look at how the Minnesota Vikings seem to be undisciplined along that offensive line yesterday, and the Baltimore Ravens, I think, only had two penalties, maybe three at the most. It says that they're getting the penalty situation under control. I think when you look at the adjustments that Todd Monken made from the first half to the second half, I think that we are seeing some growth even with him. I think when you saw the different play calling in the second half, using more deception in that second half, using some misdirection in that second half, and even pulling out, I guess you could call that a trick play with the pitch back to Lamar Jackson. I think that Todd Monken has to get to that quicker. But shout out to Todd Monken, man, for making the change. Because again, this offense, man, was stuck early on in this game. I think that we won't know what this 3-game win streak is until we complete the mission to get to 500. And then I think we can look back and assess. You see, because unless we get to 500, nothing else matters. Unless we continue to win. I'm not talking about win out the rest of the season. I'm just simply talking about winning to get to 500, beating the teams we should just be better than. We should just be better than the Cleveland Browns. We should be better than the New York Jets. We should be. But if we don't get to 6-5, which says we beat the teams we were better than, then this 3-game winning streak was just a hoax. It was just smoke and mirrors for the Baltimore Ravens. It was just them beating up on not so good teams, right? And you have to play who you play. But we also understand that any given Sunday, any team could be any team, just like the Miami Dolphins put the clamps on the Buffalo Bills on yesterday. Now, I have not dug into what happened in that game and what the scheme was and if anybody got hurt of major consequence. But I do know that they beat them and we just beat them, right? I do know they beat the Buffalo Bills and we just beat Miami. So any given Sunday, so Cleveland could win. The Jets could win. But if we line up and we're fairly healthy and we play disciplined football, I'm not even talking about elite at this point, just discipline. Line up and do your job. I think that we should come out of the next 2 games with wins, and then we can look back and assess and say, okay, bam, they were building. It wasn't just a hoax. Because the sign of a building and growing team is beating the teams you're supposed to beat. I think we've gotten a little better every game. Chicago, 285 passing as it pertains to defensive performance. Miami, 265 passing. And then this game, 245 passing, or somewhere around that number. And so we've gotten a little better as the competition offensively has gotten better. Miami's talent is probably better than Chicago's talent. And then Minnesota's talent is better for sure than Miami's talent. And we have done better each game. And so no letdown in Cleveland, no letdown in New York. And then when all the smoke clears, if we get to 6-5, then we can have a deeper conversation of where we really are, and more importantly, who we really are. We did see that the Pittsburgh Steelers lost last night, which again, they continue to open the door for the Baltimore Ravens to pull up beside them and honk the horn, right? And so if we could do what we're supposed to do, I think that it's going to make for a super interesting remainder of the season. But quality win for the Baltimore Ravens. You guys jump into the comment section and let me know what you think it means. And until next time, I'm out.